always include the questions. What prompted you to apply? What did you like about the job posting? It's a great way to gauge people's motivation. Like, were they just randomly applying to jobs that they happened to see, or did they make a motivated, an educated decision as to, no, I looked at the job description. This particular job lines up with the skills and experience that I have, and I like what I wrote. I like what I saw about the company culture and the challenges. So that's typically I always start out with gauging motivation. I always try to tailor the questions to the actual job description. So I work with the scoring grid. It's very simple on Excel. There is a job posting with various requirements. Like, this is the experience that we're looking for. This is the education that you need for this particular job. These are the skills that predict success. And then I score them based on what the resume says. Like, does the resume, what kind of education have people had? How many years of experience have they had in this particular job? And if some of it is missing, I ask questions about, can you tell me, let's say if it's a health and safety job, do you do toolbox meetings with your direct reports in the morning? And sometimes you'll find that people do have that experience. They just didn't realize that it was missing from their resume, or they just weren't sure how important it was, or they just never made the effort of actually writing it down. And then it turns out that they do have that experience. So I probe for, let's say, the holes, the gaps that I see in the resume in terms of skills. Like, have people done this? Have people done that? Do they have experience with health and safety? Do they have an important one, especially when you're recruiting for management positions? What is their experience with performance management? Do they actually meet with their direct reports one-on-one, let's say once a week, once every 2 weeks? Are there coaching sessions? Do they help people remove roadblocks? What have they done in terms of people development? Do they do performance reviews? Every 3 months or once a year, doesn't really matter as long as it's getting done. And is corrective action part of what you've done? And then just let them talk and get a gauge on whether they actually enjoy this. I find in many organizations that people in supervisory positions can't be bothered to do performance reviews or actually meet with their staff. And I'm always thinking, when I hear that, it's like, how can you not meet with your direct reports? Like, people are your most important asset. It's your human capital. So why not make that effort? So I always probe for, how well aligned people are with the ask in the job posting. I always start interviews with something along the lines of, we're going to be asking you a number of questions, and none of these are meant to throw you for a loop, or they're not intended as a curveball. We're here to establish a basis for trust. You have to be the right candidate for the company, but the company also has to be the right work environment for you. And we have nothing to gain by irritating you or trying to, see if we can get you stressed out. We have nothing to gain there. We're here to focus on, should be the right fit for the company, and is the company the right fit for you? And that tends to be a relief to candidates. I also think there's a bit of a power trip, typically, like to ask questions with the intent of stumping the candidate. Typically, I don't see any benefit to it. I try to take it down to more of a grassroots level. Can you please give me an example of how you simplified the process and that resulted in cost savings for the company? Or can you please give an example of where you went above and beyond for a customer and the customer was really happy about that? I find those questions and answers much more predictive. And another question that I always ask, verbatim pretty much, you probably had performance reviews and coaching sessions over the years. What have people said about you and your work? What kind of feedback have you had? And the advantage there is that it typically yields real information, because it's really hard to make that up on the fly. People have to think back of coaching sessions that they were part of, and informal reviews that they were given. And what did supervisors and peers and also clients, customers, what did people say about them? And typically I get real information out of that. And I also think it's a fair question. It sort of makes people, they have to step out of their own shoes and talk into somebody else's shoes and talk about themselves. Like, how did other people perceive them? And I typically get I find those answers really good. That's really good information that helps with this, in the selection stage of the process.